Did you know there used to be map variants in DBD? And no, I'm not talking about different realms. 2x speed is recommended for this video. For anyone who doesn't know, map variants were basically the same maps but altered. So for example, like the one I'm playing on right now, this is a variant of Sanctum of Wrath. This map is smaller than the one we have in game. For some reason, when the Ghoul came out, Behavior decided to make the weird choice of removing all of these variants, and I didn't even find out they removed them until like a year later. The reason why they removed them is because when a match was loading, whenever a map would be chosen, they would treat each variant like a separate map, which is kind of dumb. So you'd see the same maps over and over again, especially Macmillan. But instead of fixing the coding, they took the lazy route of completely removing them, which is pretty disappointing. The maps with variants basically had a greater chance of being chosen. Here are some reasons why I think they should be brought back, and why more should be added also. If you guys want to try them out, you can go to Custom Games and Map Selection, and they will be marked with Roman numerals. Only the first version of every map remains in the map rotation, so every other one is gone, no longer in map rotation. Anyways, the first and main reason why I think they should be added back is balancing. I'm not going to get into every single map, so I'll use Sanctum of Wrath 1 and 2 as an example. Sanctum of Wrath 1 is a really poorly designed and large map. There are 2 dead zones on the sides of the main building. Generators are so far apart that the killer can't really move between them in time before they're completed. Versus Sanctum of Wrath 2, which has dead zones only on the outside of the map, as every map should, and the generators are spread more evenly, so killers can still patrol, and survivors can complete them without 3genning themselves. And most importantly, the map is perfectly sized and isn't unnecessarily big, which is a pain for both sides. Balancing is especially important, because they literally had to make for other fucking variations of Badham, because the map was and still is insanely survivor-sided and palette-heavy. So making more versions of it made it more balanced, and you wouldn't go to the same overpowered version every time. Now, my next reason is simply uniqueness and fun. It is not very interesting to see the same exact map all the time, with very little change, like where fillers will and won't spawn, or the random tile generation. I feel like this feature was overlooked so much, because people didn't think much of it at the time. But the more I think about it, the more I miss it. Playing killer on the current map roster is hell because I keep getting the same large maps, strong loop heavy maps and palette heavy maps, and when I play a survivor, it's just too easy to win and it feels unfun. The maps that have variants so far are Mount Ormond Resort, both Yamaoka Estate maps, Badham, and all Macmillan maps. And the variations of these maps balanced it so much because whenever I loaded into these maps, it was never a "I hate this map." Instead, I thought I wonder which variation it is, because the new variations at least give one side or the other an advantage, or at least a chance to win. Now the maps I think 100% need new variations are all of the Colvin maps, the Jigsaw map, all of the Withered Isle maps, Toba Landing, and the newest map, Trickster's Delusion. Simply because all of these maps cater to one side instead of being equally balanced. And these maps are basically Clutter City, and unnecessarily large. Also, they already kind of add new maps by taking existing realms and giving them a version where the shack is in the middle, like Rotten Fields, Wrecker's Yard, and Dead Sands. And lastly, I think they should re-add map variations, but instead of making them separate maps, so every map has an equal chance of being chosen, just make them all into one map. But give them a chance to be either variant, and that fixes the problem instead of outright removing them. I also feel like they should still make variants of existing maps, where it's just the shack in the middle with everything else around it like tiles and fillers, just like how Dead Sands, Wrecker's Yard, and Rotten Fields are. That idea is still good, so good on Behavior for that. But remember, it is the perks, or the killer that makes this game survivor or killer-sided. It's Behavior's core map design. Anyway, that's all. That was kind of long. But whatever, #DBD, please bring map variants back.